Today, what we're going to talk about is the overhead press. It's going to prioritize your anterior deltoids, your triceps, and arguably your upper pecs. So I know with overhead press, there's way more muscles than just those three. But to keep it simple and more to the point, we're going to mostly focus on the deltoids, the triceps, and the upper pecs. So I want you to watch this video right now. This is me performing the correct way of doing the overhead press. And you'll notice something about my form. My spine is slightly extended. Whenever we perform the overhead press, especially from the standing position, which is traditionally where it would happen, my spine is flexed, so I'm curved at my spine. And when I do that, I tilt my upper body upward. I'm hitting those upper fibers of the pecs, which will help with extension of the movement. Some people say they're not the prime muscles being used, but they are one of the big muscle groups being used in this movement, especially if you change your equipment or the load gets heavier. It gets a little bit more tilted, you might just feel a little bit more of the upper pec. But I would not suggest this being something you focus on chest day. Chest day, everything needs to be horizontal, so away from the body, not vertical from the body. That's still going to prioritize your shoulders a bit more. But with that being said, let's talk about not just the proper form, but also the incorrect form. So we're going to show you a video right now of me doing the movement incorrectly. And when I'm doing it incorrectly, one of the things that I do that's wrong, that's a big cue for a mistake, is that when I press upward, I'm pressing the weight, as you can see, and I'm looking at the bar. When I look at the bar and keep it in my peripheral, what's happening is resistance is not going vertical anymore. It's going diagonal, so it's going away from my body. And the thing about this is that when we lift weights, we want to use upright positions to be in our strongest position possible. So if you think about the floor and you think about yourself being upright, you're perpendicular to the floor. You've made a 90-degree angle. And that's when our body is in the strongest position possible to maintain a stronger anatomy. Because like right now, I'm standing up against the floor talking to you guys. I don't feel a lot of strain in my body. But if I was to lean forward and stay tilted like this talking to you guys, I can start feeling it in my glutes, my hamstrings, my low back. I feel as time goes on, it gets more and more and more fatiguing. So if you overhead press in a diagonal fashion away from the body, you never allow yourself to get in a strong position, and you're straining a lot of the muscles that support the shoulder joint. Now, if you look back at my correct video, one of the biggest cues that I'm using, or rather one of the more important parts of my form that I'm using, is that when I press, I'm making sure that when the bar clears my forehead, I push my head through. And here's what happens. When you watch the video and you see me push my head through, that allows me to put my body through the bar to get the bar above my head. And when I'm pressing to lock out, now I'm more vertical. Now I'm more upright. Resistance is perpendicular to the floor. And that's a much more advantageous position to be in than to be behind the bar and looking at the bar from start to finish. It might seem like it takes a lot of effort to push the head through, and it makes the movement not continuous, and it could segment the movement, etc. But that minor inconvenience puts you in a stronger position to also keep you safer as well. So with the overhead press, you want to make sure that with good form, you keep the bar in front, and then when you get past the forehead, you push your head through, get your arms vertical so that you're in a stronger position to have a better lockout and to be safer.